How's everyone doing this morning? Fine, okay. Well, I want to say congratulations to those students who have achieved a 3-point or above, those who are in the honor roll and who are on the principal's list, and also those students who have improved in a particular subject area. Do you realize that this school is so proud of you that they've decided to stop school for 2 periods just to honor you? So give yourselves a hand. Daily as I drive around Nassau, I see stickers on cars saying that, well, my child is on the honor roll, my child is on the principal's list, and, I'm a parent too. And I actually wanted to have one of those stickers, but unfortunately, my son, who is now in grade 10, was not passing homework, and so he was not on the honor roll, and he was not on the principal's list. But I'm a parent, and I wanted to brag too. And so I decided that I will have another sticker. And my sticker would say, well, my child is not on the honor roll, and he is not on the principal's list. But he should be on it, because he has principles. Now, sometimes we forget that having principles is just as important as being on the principal's list. And being on the honor roll is equally as important as living a life of honor. And so even though I'm here to speak this morning about being committed to excellence from an academic point of view, I would hope and I want to remind all of you that excellence is not just academic, it's also character. Yeah. And the truth is, some students today may not be able to celebrate because of their academics, but their character makes them a part of the celebration. Yes. And they too should be commended. So give them a hand. With that said, I want to share 3 stories. And all of these stories has to do with me being in high school, of course. They all were driven by academics, but they have all taught me how to build character. Now, where are my 8th graders? Because I spoke to them a while back. Oh, you remember, right? So, in 1994, and please don't try to figure my age out. In 1994, I was 15 years old, living in South Andros, and I was in grade 11. Now, this year was the first of many things. It was the first time I went to the U.S. alone, the first time I met my father, who was in prison, and it was the first time, and actually only time, I got a 3-point while I was in high school. Now, to anybody's standard, this was a great achievement, won't you agree? Yeah, I even brought my report card so that you can see that this was a really big deal. I was first place and I had a 3-point average. But unfortunately, I didn't think it was a big deal. So even though my friends were there saying, who's gotten first and who got what GPA, I was embarrassed to talk about it. I, for whatever reason, didn't want anybody to know that I had gotten this success. As a matter of fact, I didn't think I was smart. I figured that they were just not as smart as I was, and that's how I got on top. Now, how many of you, this is your first time having an achievement such as this? Anyone? You mean you, well, okay. So, I'm the only one, I'm sorry, you just messed up my story. Okay. Well, I'll continue my story for me, thank you very much. I was the first person and I was the only person, and the thing about it is, it taught me that a lesson, and that lesson is to celebrate. So I'll ask you another question. How many of you think that this achievement worth a celebration? Good. Because that is the first lesson, that no matter what, when you have an achievement, you should always celebrate. There's something that celebration does. It gives you more confidence. And as you get the confidence, you start to want to do more, and that creates the ability and the possibility of you being able to achieve more. So I encourage you to continue to celebrate. So what's my lesson number one? Celebrate, exactly. Now, like I said, I didn't celebrate. And so I didn't have the confidence. And this showed up 9 months later. I know I didn't have a baby. 9 months later, I was in grade 12. And I know that from my experience at this school, normally students who are going to be head boy, head girl, they speak to the teachers. But when I was in high school, what we did is the teachers chose the top students, and those students were to give a speech to the student body. And then the student voted on which student they wanted to be their head boy or head girl. Well, as I said, I was one of the top students, I guess. And so I was chosen to give a speech. Now, I thought I had it. The speech seemed to be pretty good. I did my campaigning, and so I figured I had my voters lined up, and everything was going as planned. Until, for whatever reason, I moved from behind the lectern, and I lost my place. What do you think I did? Pardon me? Well, not yet. Well, I stood there for a while, looking around and wasn't sure what to do. And my principal, Mr. Michael Humes, I like to call his name, Mr. Humes came behind me and told me something to say, but of course that is not what I had on my paper. And so I didn't say it. So I stood there for a while, wasn't sure, and then I saw one of my friends who was also there to give her speech, and I decided to bend down behind her and cry. What do you think the students did? Laugh, because that's what you do. Of course they laughed. They laughed and said that I was crying for votes. So you think they voted for me? No, they did not vote for me. And that year, of course, I did not become head girl. I did not even become deputy head girl. I became senior prefect, which is a default rule, by the way. But nobody knows, and so, I let it go like that. So the lesson that I learned in this situation was to always do your best. Now, how many of you, even though you're being honored, and even those out there, can say, I have done my best last year? Wow, no hands? How many of you can say, I've done my best? So we only have a few persons, even though those being honored, who can say that they've done their best. So you think you've done. The people with their hands down, it means that you haven't done your best? Okay, well I'm happy that you know that, because doing your best isn't simply just getting the grade. Doing your best means that you understand what the requirements are and you're working towards those requirements. And you're doing the best you possibly can to achieve whatever is required of you. Now, I didn't do my best. And so as a result, I had to hide behind someone. I would encourage you to do your best so that no matter what, you will never ever have to hide behind anybody. So what's number 2 lesson? Do your best. And number 1? Celebrate, do your best. Now, as a result of me not celebrating and not doing my best, life continued to get really difficult for me. And so I was preparing for graduation in grade 12, and during that time was when we were having the BJC and BGCSEs. Now, my favorite class in school was food nutrition, believe it or not, because I don't cook now. But it was food nutrition. And there were 2 papers for the food nutrition exam. And I was about to do the first paper, the planning exam. That day I didn't feel so well. And so I told Mr. Humes that I would rather do that paper another time. Of course, he said, well, this is a national exam. You can't just choose to do it another time. And so I went into the exam, and I sat there. I thought it was just for a minute. But when the bell went off, I realized that I had sat there for over an hour, and I didn't do anything on that exam. What do you think I did? Well, crying was now a small thing. I actually did something that I would make sure, and I'm hoping, that nobody would ever do no matter what. I went home and I gave up on life. How did I give up on life? I tried to commit suicide. So I took a bunch of tablets, looked all through the house wherever I can find them, and I went in my room, listened to some Whitney Houston music, because I love Whitney Houston. But it didn't make me feel better, and so I took the bottle of tablet. Now, clearly I'm still here, so nothing happened. But what happened that day is a friend found me, told my grandmother and my aunt. They took me to the clinic. The clinic took me on an emergency flight to Nassau. Came here, the police came, everyone came, and at the end of the day, of course, nothing happened. I was embarrassed, and I needed to go back home. Facing my friends, what do you think the people did when I went back home? Criticized me, but what else do you think they did? Judged me, what else? Well, they laughed. They scorned me, they laughed, and I was known as the girl who tried to commit suicide. For years, I was known in Andros as, hey, you're that girl from the block who tried to commit suicide, right? That's what people recognize me as. And the truth is, when we make bad decisions, that is what happens. But it took me over 10 years, even after I started teaching and everything, over 10 years to realize the third lesson. And that lesson is that life is never as bad as we think it is. Things are never as bad as we think it is. Do you agree? I'll tell you, that same exam that I was worried that I was going to fail, guess what I got in it? I got a B. As a matter of fact, I passed 3 PGCSEs with C and above that year. I mean, if you're counting D's, I passed 6. But with C and above, I passed 3 PGCSEs. I went to COB, but of course it took me 2.5 years to get to COB as a result of this situation. 2.5 years, but when I went to COB, I was there for 4 years, and not once did I get anything less than a 3-point average. Imagine that. After teaching here for a few years, I went off again to India. And I was there with 43 other countries. And I was the top student. I'm the top female student in that program. Now the question is, did life get easier? Did things get better? Did I get smarter? What do you think? Maybe, maybe not. The truth is, people see me as a different person than they saw me back then. But one thing that I want to tell you that people didn't tell me, and that is, whatever you can be or you're going to be, you are that now. That is in you right now. And so you shouldn't be waiting for another opportunity to get it there. As a matter of fact, the only difference between the people who are being honored today and those who are not is that they are committed to excellence. What simply means is that they're now presently utilizing their potential. And so you as students need to ensure that no matter what, at the point that you are right now, that you utilize your potential. We agree? Now, you all have the potential. Everybody can be head boy or head girl, but we can all be leaders. everybody can be the top achiever, but we can all be achievers. And that is all that is required of you, to do what you need to do in order to be a leader, in order to be an achiever. Now, I will tell you that at the end of the day, I may say all that I have to say, and you may still say, well, you know what? I'm not the best student, but I'm a pretty good student. How many of you would say, well, I'm a pretty good student? Pretty good. Well, let me let you know that pretty good is not enough. As a matter of fact, don't be a pretty good student. Don't be that pretty good student who sits in a pretty good class with a pretty good teacher who always lets pretty good pass. Because as the author of this poem says, Charles Osgood, that in the end, that pretty good student in fact was a part of a pretty good mob. And the first time he learned what he lacked was when he was looking for a pretty good job. It was then when he realized that life could be tough. And he soon realized that pretty good was not enough. And so I'm saying to you students, do not settle. Do not settle for pretty good. Do not settle for just enough. Do your best. Celebrate. And understand that while you're doing your best, and while you're celebrating, somewhere down the line you're going to fail. Somewhere down the line you're not going to get what it is that you truly want. But during that period, remember, and always remember, that things are never as bad as we think they are. And when you remember that, continue to be committed to excellence and continue trying. Mr. Moderator.